Hey guys, so today I have decided that I will do a little catch-up sit-down video with you guys, kind of about what's been going on with me for the last couple of months, I suppose. I know I was missing in so many ways from YouTube for about a month really, mental health related, and I kind of feel like I want to sit down and talk about this because it's one of those things that I find hard to talk about, but I feel like it needs to be out there, and I feel like feel better once it's out there. Yeah, I've got myself a tea, gonna have just relaxed, chilled, chatty time, so I don't really know where this exactly is gonna go. I'm just gonna sort of talk and try to explain. So yeah, go grab yourself a tea, go get a snack, sit down, chill out, and yeah, join me. So I really struggled sort of after Christmas. Initially I felt fairly motivated for the year ahead, you know, with all that like new year, new vibes sort of thing, like want to get things done, this is what I want to achieve. But it very quickly faded. I felt like January took forever, and I hate that. Like, I hate that. I know typically people say like it always takes a long time. It's that January blues after Christmas, like after having a high, you're having a low sort of thing, and it's quite typical. But I try not to like think like that. I want to be, I try to be that type of person that's like embrace every moment, enjoy everything, because you know you never know when it's going to be your last time to enjoy those things. So I hate that it still got to me, but it did, and it's like I had all these ideas for videos and I kept on writing more ideas and things to do, but every time I thought about picking up the camera or sitting down to do something, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to do my face, I didn't want to even get dressed half the time. I wanted to sleep really. I just wanted to shut myself away from the world, and I was really struggling. Stop crying. Ah. I think the hardest thing is obviously I am on my own a lot, not tons, like I still have people around me, friends, family, and Liam's still obviously about. I think it was more, I was disappointed in myself. Like I felt like last year, every year for the last however many years, you know, I've had that, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I've hardly ever achieved anything. And just before Christmas I had my first driving test and I failed, and I just felt the weight of it because I felt like I'm 27, I'm getting too old, like, for things. It's so stupid, but I felt like I should have achieved certain things in my life by now, that typical thing of I should have done this, I should do this, I should be able to do this, and I felt like I was just failing, like I couldn't do some of the basic things that people, you know, that struggle a lot more with other stuff could do. And it just felt like such a pressure, and I think that's partly what drew me back, is that I just didn't feel like there was much progression in my life, and it just made me feel angry. It made me feel angry against the world. Like, I was happy for people, but I was also just upset and angry for myself and my situation. I feel like for me, my depression and my anxiety is a lot of the time situational, and it can change very drastically, and I'm very good at putting a brave face on. Like I have sometimes, you know, been able to sit down, like my last video, I was still sort of struggling a bit, but I did it, and it's like I can sometimes come on Instagram and just seem normal, but it's because I don't really want to show, obviously, me crying. I don't really want to show me not getting dressed and looking a complete state, and yeah, just for a while it was like that. It was basic living. It was just getting the kids to school and playgroups, sorting them out, and then me just being a mess in so many ways. And I pushed myself into like just cleaning a lot of the time and just focusing on like dog walks and sorting the house out and doing this. And we still had a lot going on, to be fair. Like, we have a lot of birthdays in January, and this February's been the same. I had Isla's birthday, and then I had my driving test as well, and luckily I passed this one, but again it was so much anxiety behind that, and I did not expect to pass. I was just so expecting more failure, and that's partly I didn't tell anyone that I was gonna be taking my test, hugely because I felt a lot of pressure. I didn't tell anyone because I was scared to then have to tell them that I'd failed again, basically. Whereas it's a nice surprise when you tell them that you've passed. I know, like, even from my driving instructor and loads of other people, there's loads of people that have told me that they took ages to pass. It's harder, it's not as easy as people think. They get more critical. It's very person dependent. You are sitting with a person and they have their own opinions about what is right and wrong. They might have a guideline that they go by, but that actual person's opinion is very different. And it's like I had very similar manoeuvres and route, kind of, actually. I think my last one was harder than my first one, and yet this person passed me and the other one didn't, and I didn't do that much differently. So it's just, yeah, it's a head game in so many ways. And I think I want to try and do like a video about my learning to drive as an older person, I suppose, or just my experience of learning to drive, because I think it could really help people. Like, I actually turned to YouTube, and I feel like YouTube helped me to learn to drive and to see that other people were struggling, and it makes you feel a little bit better that there's other people out there that it isn't as easy as it thinks, and it's just not just you. You're not just stupid, you're not just failing, like, it's a normal thing. Sometimes I think you need that sort of reassurance that it's okay. It's okay not to succeed completely at everybody else's rate. The way I feel when I struggle with like mental health, depression, anxiety, I have anxiety all the time throughout different things. It will affect me differently. I don't always know when I'm going to feel anxiety about things. Look, most of the time it's when something's expected of me, or I feel like people are going to judge me. I guess like a situation where people would be judging you is more likely when I get worried and scared, and it physically affects me. When I feel like depressed, for me, like, sometimes I'm almost convinced that I am actually getting ill, and it's hard actually to differentiate between whether I'm depressed or genuinely getting ill, because I can feel very similar. After having Isla, I struggled, and I think I've spoken about this before in previous videos, but I can't remember how much detail I went into. But after having Isla, I definitely struggled, and it was very hard to know whether that was postpartum depression, which I think some of it was, or whether it was because I was also fighting an infection, they think. Whereas now I feel like going through the highs and lows of life since then and knowing a bit more about how it affects me has shown me that for a lot of time it's very physical. Like, I get headaches, just like I can't breathe. I feel trapped. I feel like I can't catch my breath. I feel like there's a weight, like I'm exhausted, which is hard also in the beginning, because obviously I literally am exhausted. I'm up all night with a newborn baby. You just put it down to that. When I went for a checkup at the hospital after the postpartum hemorrhage, I said to them that I still felt like I couldn't breathe a lot of the time. I felt like there was a weight on my chest, and it hurt a lot. And they checked my blood pressure and my oxygen levels, and they were like, it seems fine. They said that you can see that I was like nervous, if you know what I mean, and then I'd have spikes in my blood pressure because of that, or like my heart rate even. They said that otherwise it was normal. It was more of a mental thing, obviously. Like, I feel like now, been through it quite a few times, and now I still get that. Like, I feel like that's when I'm really, really bad, have panic attacks, and I have had a few in the past. I don't think I've ever been around someone, like, I've been near the children before and then like just gone and shut myself away for like 5 or 10 minutes depending on how long it takes me. But yeah, I've had panic attacks before. Why is it so hard to talk about? Why is mental health so difficult? It almost feels like I'm exposed, like I'm naked, and people are, I don't know. You should know your own mind enough to know how to support yourself, and most of the time I'm my best friend and my harshest critic, really. And I think that's the struggle, is that it's such yin and yang. Sometimes I can be so horrible to myself, and then the next minute I could be so nice to myself, and it's so hard to push through that and keep positive. I do feel like I have somewhat learned some things about how to try to get myself out of these depression phases, I suppose you can call it. Number one is withdrawal from some things, and I know that some people say that can be bad, and it can be, but done in the right way it can also help. I think less screen time, more focus on the small positives, breaking down those big expectations and making them into more achievable goals, just writing even day-to-day lists. I do feel like what kept me going was focusing on the children, getting them to where they need to do, getting on and doing stuff, making sure that I had sort of the house straight, cleaning. That actually helped me. Like, I think if I didn't have those things, if I didn't have the children, if I didn't have a house to clean, if I didn't have jobs to do, then I would have wallowed in it a lot more. And I think it's important to sort of keep yourself ticking over whilst you're sort of repairing yourself, as it were. And then in self-care, like taking time for yourself, taking time to do the things that you enjoy. Like, this is one of the things I still haven't quite got back to yet, is that last 2 years, I've been journaling and bullet journaling. My book ran out in December. I bought a few new books, but part of it hasn't been completely satisfied with the book that I bought. Also, I haven't got back into it, like where I put my creativeness into a lot of the time, and it's just something that calms my mind. I don't know, it just helps me a little bit, and that's definitely something I need to get back into. But I've also started reading more, which I hadn't done for a long time. Something very simple, but looking up quotes, really. I use Pinterest a lot for positivity quotes or things that I relate to, just talking to people about things. Like, I think that's the hardest thing for me, is to talk about how I'm feeling with people, because I just don't think anyone cares, to be honest, and that anyone can really help me. And if I feel like I'd just be burdening them with something that they can't do, and it just feels pointless. So that's why I don't mind telling people, oh, I'm struggling a bit, but I don't really want them to do anything. I don't know, it's feels good sometimes just to be like, oh, I'm a bit worried about this, and have a little bit of reassurance. And I did do that slowly, bit by bit, with different people, and that did help. So it is nice when people reach out when they know that you are struggling. I think just having someone that says, I'm here if you want to talk, I hope you're okay, sort of thing. Simple, but it's so powerful, and very important. And I would happily do that for any of my friends, even if you're a stranger, to be honest. I'm happy to talk to anyone if I can help anyone in any way. And I think that's another thing that I feel like helps me. If I feel like I can start putting my energy and time into helping someone else, it takes me out of myself for a while, it makes me focus on something else. And I think that it humbles me a little bit, makes me stop sort of whinging in my own head about, oh, woe me, I don't have this, my life's miserable, blah blah blah. It makes me think, no, be grateful for what you've got, be grateful for this. And I really home down to like everything, like, I'm thankful that I've got clothes, I've got food in the fridge, I've got children, I've got a dog, I can go for a walk, I can do these things, I have hands that work, I have eyes that can see, I have ears that can hear, like, I can do all these things. Whereas there's so many people out there that can't, and I'm focusing on things that they would be so happy if they were in my situation. Yeah, trying to reinstall that into my head helps a lot, to sort of get through things and make me feel a bit better that I need to turn my situation around so that I can then help other people. And I can, like, even in my situation where I don't exactly have a lot of money, I am on my own, I do have 2 children to look after and stuff, I can still help people. And I think that's one of the most important things in life, is to be able to give back to others. I'm still struggling on and off a bit. I feel a little bit better now that, I am driving. I have passed, but it has bring its whole load of new worries. Like, now I am actually dealing with the fact that I'm actually have anxiety every time I drive, because I feel the weight of it all. Like, what if I crash? What if I do this? What if the kids are with me? What if we get stranded? Yeah, just a whole load of new worries, and anxiety is something that I do deal with on a daily basis, and I think that's always something that spikes up and down, and that's what starts me feeling like I'm falling into that depression a lot of the time. My diet's been up and down, and I think that's probably the thing with my headaches and stuff as well, because I haven't always been eating very well, because when I'm depressed or I have anxiety, it stops me from eating. I don't fancy food, and then I'll have like peaks of like, I'm suddenly really hungry and I'll eat loads, and then I won't eat, and obviously that's not good. It's not good for my body. So it's almost like starting again, hitting that reset button of training myself to eat better and gradually. And yeah, I do think anxiety and depression affects people in lots of different ways. To what I explained today is very normal. A lot of people go through exactly the same thing, and however much I don't wish this on anyone, I don't want anyone to feel like this, it is also nice to know that you're not alone. and that it is normal and it is okay to go through these patches, as long as you don't stay there. Just keep moving, keep hoping, keep focusing on trying to live. It is worth it. There is lots of amazing things about this life. Sorry, this has been a lot more heartfelt than I thought. Oh gosh, and I've barely drunk my tea. Oh gosh, I've rambled for so long. And I feel like probably half of this doesn't even make sense. I feel like I've just gone back and forth. But this is kind of what it is for me. Like, it's just like that. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. I hope this wasn't too difficult to watch. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of editing. Hopefully this is alright and I can actually get this up. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.